So this evening, we're going to be focusing on activating a new level of your anatomy and healing traumas within the nervous system by focusing on the treasure of the traumas. There are gifts within your nervous system, within the traumas that are trapped in there. And oftentimes the traditional healing that's recommended is looking at the trauma and extracting them from the nervous system and getting to the root cause of the trauma. Where within the new anatomy that's awakening, it is more about being focused on the gifts of the traumas and the new now relevance of why those traumas are still coming up, especially if it's been things that have happened quite some time ago. And depending on your belief system, different perspectives around different lifetimes, whether it's, traumas trapped from there. But regardless, is that in this new experience, it's more about the present moment and the gifts that lie within the triggers that are taking place. So I'm going to invite everyone, take a nice deep breath, please. And always before these activations begin, I always take time to get present so I can receive what's going to come through for the activation. I never know what's going to actually come up. And so I'm just as amazed during these processes. So let's take another nice deep breath, please. So our nervous system, and the central nervous system primarily, is our communications hub. It sends all the signals throughout the body. And what I know to be true is that the awakening that's going to be taking place in so many is that it's important for the communication factor within the anatomy to be transmitting at a higher level in order for the communication factor of what needs to be articulated through the lives of those who are here to carry unique and profound messages, especially during these times. So it's important that you establish wholeness and anchor this new anatomy so that you can be healed of multiple things and be able to then in turn provide that frequency and new vibration for others. Take a nice deep breath, please. So I want you to imagine that you have a system within a system, a nervous system within a nervous system, because actually you do. It's not something that is talked about or people haven't even discovered that. It's kind of a unique pioneer work that I've been bringing forth. But you have another layer of your anatomy. And within that layer of your anatomy, your nervous system, it's more like a treasure chest. And these treasures are trying to make their way out of you and into the world, into your life. And oftentimes, as this part of your system is trying to awaken and come forth, You feel some disruption that bump up against the current system that you've been working from. And then it shows up in the body as traumas, as pain, disease. But we're going to be present with the gifts, the treasures within the traumas. Not the memories, not the pain, but the promise, the possibilities, the purpose. And though some memories trigger and come to mind, and should those arise, I'm going to then invite you to not be present with the pain, but be present with the possibilities, with the gift. Take a nice deep breath, please. So now that you are aware and awakened that you do have another dimension of your anatomy, and you have several, but we are just coming into more of the first layer. Peel back the understanding around the traditional concepts so that you're not operating from your most known central nervous system or nervous system, that part of the anatomy. We're now being present with the truth, because the truth is what holds those treasures. What's the now relevance of any discomfort and disease, anything that's going on with your nervous system during this time? Take a deep breath, please. So just imagine with me for a moment that you are a treasure chest. And imagine that there's a gem of some sort that is standing out to you more so than the others. And as you're holding that image in your mind, where you've made your selection of which one that was, there's a place within your body right now that your nerves have been affected by. And if you can actually isolate that in thought, I'm going to invite you to imagine that you're taking the treasure out of your chest, that inner treasure chest, and taking what stood out to you. Imagine yourself putting it on that area, the area of disease, discomfort. It's causing your nervous system to be triggered. And so we're going to be present with what the treasure is, what the treasure is of that disease, what the treasure is within the trapped trauma of your nervous system. So what's coming up for you right now? Some of you may feel a huge relief or release, so to speak. That's what's trapped is being untrapped and coming forth as a greater expression in terms of communication for how you need to live your life moving forward. Who are you without the trauma stories? Who are you without that old identity that was really assigned to you? Take a deep breath, please. And just be present. I'm just going to continue to be present. Do some deep breathing here. I'm going to invite you to take 3 nice deep breaths, please. Just want to calm the nervous system with deep breathing. So we're actually going to do 3 more deep breaths. So what are you feeling right now? Just want to get a good handle on that before we go back into your inner treasure chest. If you have note-taking material, please write down what's coming up for you. Something that's coming to mind is that there's nothing too traumatic, that the treasures within you can't flesh out. Sometimes the greater the tragedy or traumatic experience, the greater the treasure. So as we are focusing on the treasure aspect of understanding that there's gifts within the traumas. And again, we're not even identifying what the traumas are. We're just basing this really solely on the misalignments and disease and discomfort of your nervous system during this time, and extracting the gifts and unwrapping the gifts. This new human anatomy experience is transforming all traumas into treasures. And you're playing a part in that even now. So you're being re-engineered during this time. New neural pathways are opening up and expanding. Again, the nervous system within the nervous system within the nervous system within the nervous system. Because there are layers and dimensions of your nervous system that don't contain any wisdom or archives around the trauma. Take a deep breath, please. Let's do some deep breathing here. So let's take a moment and be even more present with the inner treasure chest. What's coming up now? What gem or jewel are you seeing? Once you see it or see them, then imagine yourself placing on another area where there's dis-ease and discomfort that has been caused by your central nervous system or your nervous system as a whole. Take another nice deep breath, please. I want you to ask your central nervous system in this new anatomy perspective, what are the treasures that are ready to be revealed that bring forth healing and wholeness? So whatever come up for you, just write that down. Being present still for the activation. It's important during this time that you receive this new awareness of healing. So much that's ready to come through your life, and that's what's really trying to get out of you and work its way through you. Is this more expansive life can no longer be trapped and contained within your constitutions, within your structures at this point. Take a deep breath, please. And I want you to imagine that inner treasure chest that's been opening. You've been taking a few things out here and there and applying to different areas. I want you to imagine as if that treasure chest just somehow, the pieces within it sort of took on life on their own and just kind of exploded within you. Take a deep breath, please. And as they explode within you, it's really what's trying to get out of you. Let's be present with the space here. There'll be a lot of wisdom and insight that comes up for you. Whether the treasure triggers, as I sense that there's more than one treasure chest that wants to present itself, another dimension of your anatomy. We've exploded one. And now there's another one coming forth. But what's interesting is within this treasure chest, it's gifts that are wrapped. So what's ready to be unwrapped in your life's experience? Take another nice deep breath, please. Now let's be with the gifts. What are the gifts of the traumas that are transformed? Let's write down anything that comes up for you. So now we're going to activate a new story within the new anatomy. As many of you would have already felt yourself being re-engineered, noticing the difference. So before I activate this, what's the new story? What's the new you and new story with your new anatomy, your new nervous system? Take a deep breath, please. And now I want you to feel the wholeness vibration awakening within you, and that's bringing forth the healing and higher levels of wellness, Some of you will be feeling the calming of your system, kind of the winding down of looping and traumas and dramas, and now coming into the full understanding of truth. So I'm just giving a few moments just to be in this space here, because there's deeper, if you want to call it healing, there's deeper healing, deeper revelation also that wants to come forth. Coming forth for how you take this experience and level it up for your highest maximum benefit, and then the opportunity to impact others. Let's be present again with the treasures of the traumas. What are the treasures? So I want you to feel the calming energy. This is gentle healing, gentle awareness of wholeness. And that's where your primary focus should always be, is on wholeness, even more so than the healing, because when you focus on wholeness, it extracts the healing potential and your highest level potential for your total well-being. Take a deep breath, please. And just continue to be present with the gifts. So whatever has come up for you, I want to take a moment to activate that within the new story, within the new template. Take a deep breath, please. And you are more than just one story. And that newer story is ready to come forth. And some of you will find that within the upcoming days, weeks, and months that you have healed more than you can imagine. There's new communication coming online through your central nervous system. The re-engineering and reformatting of who you are based on these gifts coming up. And the focus on the treasures and not the trauma is going to serve you tremendously. Take a deep breath, please. Now, during this time, some of you may actually feel some twitching, and I actually felt some myself. And that just let me know that there's a trigger within the nervous system, and there's also a gift that is trying to make its way through, and I'm being present myself, even for my own, because as these activations take place, I am too benefiting as I am facilitating and receiving the wisdom and the insight for the rendering. So I'm just continuing to be present, because before really grounding all of this and anchoring all of this to awaken more of this truth treasure within your anatomy, so that your nervous system can benefit greatly and be up leveled in this unique way. Because when we're in this dimension, there's really no healing that's actually taking place. It is really just the extraction. But what does happen is that the level of the anatomy that you've been used to working with and aware of gets the greater benefits. And so you will start to see healing take place on the level that you're accustomed to. So I just want to make sure, before grounding another level of the new story and the new communication, just want to give time for any more wisdom for you to come up, during this time. I just love this vibration, the truth of the treasure, the gift, within these experiences. I think it's such a beautiful thing that we can start to heal in this way. And we don't have to use the old paradigm of, we need to get to the root of this. We need to go back and figure out why this happened and, heal it at that level. We are so beyond that in our human experience. Everything contains a treasure. And triggering the treasures that want to come forth is where the focus needs to be. That's why I always encourage, as I mentioned earlier, focus on wholeness. Focus on wholeness. When you focus on wholeness, you focus on treasures and not the trauma, that is when significant change occurs. We don't have to rely on memories from the past, memories that are trapped. And we focus on the now, the new now of who we are. That is the anatomy that is awakening more and making its way through to the anatomy that you are accustomed to functioning through. And just even being present in this is just so amazing. So amazing. I can feel my own anatomy shifting. So many gifts, so many truths that want to come through. That's what we are going to be grounding and activating more during this experience. The communication that is coming through your nervous system is about the truth of you and the treasures that you represent and what you're here to bring to the world, what you're here to express, what you're here to live out. It's just getting through you. And sometimes ailments and illnesses and disease are being communicated through as awakeners, as indicators, trying to get your attention, but not for you to focus so much on what's going on. It's now to draw your attention to the treasures, to the truth, which is the treasure. So let's take a moment in everything that has taken place. If you haven't already been jotting down some notes, I want you to sort of write down a synopsis so that we can bring new context to the story and communication that's wanting to come forth, to be expressed through you, through your life. And of course, I don't know what all of those trigger points have been for you and what has come up for you. It's not really relevant for me to know all of that. I'm just here to ground and activate that, and I'm feeling the prompting to do that now. So let's take a deep breath. Okay. So from the vibration of the awakened new anatomy and the truth treasures that have come up, and all of the wisdom and insight around that context, and the new anatomy and new nervous system and central nervous system that wants to communicate, activating now all of that truth and those treasures, giving thanks to the traumas that have come up in order for the treasures to be extracted. And now we activate the new anatomy and the new nervous system to operate from the vibration of now versus memory. New stories, new identities, new functionalities, new communications, new articulations and signals that go through the body, the new anatomy coming through, being the dominant force over the present anatomy that has been leveraged throughout this human experience. We now bring forth the awakened new anatomy, and we activate that now and re-engineer this new nervous system. Take a deep breath, please, and feel into that. Embrace and embody, because it's the very new fabric of who you are. Go forth from this truth. Exude the treasures that you are. Give no attention to the former. pains, and traumas, but operate from the treasure, the truth of who you are now, in this new awakened anatomy, your new story, your new identity. Take a deep breath, please. And go forth in that truth. We are complete. Thank you.